Dracula, you should come here. Dracula. Oh my god, where did the cat... Was there a cat in here with me even? Oh my god. Joe? What? Is Dracula in here with me?
I thought Baymax was in there. Is Ethan cat in there?
Oh my god. I just experienced a ghost cat. Oh my god. Oh my god. What? Oh my god. There was a ghost cat. Is he right? He's right here! Get out of there! Stop scaring me! That is an asshole thing to do. That's a-hole behavior. You did it on purpose! Okay, so I look like an exhausted, haunted Victorian doll. I didn't do that for the video. I'm not gonna start doing those makeup, like, tutorial videos where people talk about murders and they put on makeup. And no, that's not what this is. I had an audition today for a cabaret, and even though all of these people have seen me, like, during Tech Week, like, and all of that, I still, you know, dress up, even though everybody knows that I don't look dressed up or put together or having makeup on ever. So anyway, that's number one. Number two is I was watching Taskmaster and smoking a J and having a good old time. So I know that some people are like, oh, I don't like the ones where like you're high, and I'm sorry about that, but it can't be fucking helped tonight. It absolutely can't be helped. Because that train has already sailed, my friend. That has already happened. You know, so that's what it is. It's going to be another one of those. I'm going to get demonetized. All right, so let's read chapter 26 of The Mrs. I just said that just like Moira wrote. The Mrs. You know how I've been saying that, like, we've been skipping, like, interesting scenes and stuff? I just want to reiterate how angry it makes me that there have been opportunities for, like, interesting as this book can get, scenes, right? I've been complaining about this. So I'm really glad that chapter 26 opens with Maxim just finishing up a meeting that he's had with Oliver. And so he's wrapping up the meeting, but then tells us what the meeting is about. We've just concluded a discussion with the managing agents for the residential and commercial property divisions, and I'm pleased that all is well, though they're keeping a watchful eye on the retail sector. Online shopping has much to answer for, and the churn on our retail property is up. I don't need to know any of that, sir. That is not going to become part of the plot, and I wasn't particularly interested. Here's the thing. When you're doing... I'm going to give you a writing tip, right? When you are writing anything that has, like, office scenes or work scenes or whatever, if those scenes don't do anything or those things don't have any real bearing over the plot, right? You can skip those. And I don't mean like, oh, hey, I went to work and I came home. But this started off with he was wrapping up this meeting with Oliver. And he could just wrap it up rather than tell us also what it's about, right? It's enough to see that he's wrapping up this meeting with Oliver. We know who Oliver is at this point. He can just wrap up the meeting. I fall into this trap so often that I will find myself, like, giving too much detail about a side character or something, right? In a work scene where you're just like, you don't need to know that the guy that Ian works with likes to surf. Nobody needed to know that. Nobody needed to know that this dude could surf, right? But I don't know why I put it in there. It didn't make any sense. So there are just some details that you don't need to know. You don't need to know about the character's surfing coworker unless that coworker and him were going to go surf together, right? And I can't see Ian ever getting into the ocean. I fall victim to this so much. I want to warn you. I want to caution you away from it, right? Because I understand this. I understand the need to feel like you have to validate that this person's life in the text is well-rounded and that they are realistic in all facets. And that is the problem. That's what's happening here, right? The other half of the problem with this book, however, is that there are genuinely sort of more interesting and thoughtful scenes that are simply skipped over. I could permit this if we didn't just get more information about what this inconsequential meeting with Oliver was about than we did about Alesia playing piano with her great uncle for the first time after him discovering that she exists, right? Like, this would not be such a slap in the face if not for all that other stuff. I've decided to walk home as I have plenty of time and I want to stretch my legs. I've only managed 2 runs this week and I resolve to do better in Cornwall. Your running schedule, I was done with it when the guy who kidnapped your wife was literally at, like, her parents' house and you went for a run. But then you were like, oh, I'm so worried about her and I have to be with her all the time to, like, protect her. I have to, you know, and I'm supposed to believe that after her kidnapper was, like, 50 feet from her and you went for a run. Alesia will conclude her course today and mentioned going for drinks afterward with her classmates. I'm tempted to join her, but I haven't been invited and I have to drive this evening. Yeah, okay, yeah, you haven't been invited because it's a thing to get together with her classmates. I'm just saying. I'm just throwing that out there. He's walking home because, you know, he wants to stretch his legs, like he said. And he gets the feeling like somebody's watching him, but there aren't any press around. He doesn't see any paparazzi. You know, what's happening, you know. But he could get a cab, but he really needs the exercise. But that eerie feeling just follows him back to the apartment. And then, of course, he gets there, and there's no paparazzi outside there either, conveniently, because it's needed for this part of the story. And then he goes into the building. You know what, though? Growth. Because when he feels this eerie feeling, he doesn't immediately turn around and run to, like, find Alesia. He doesn't just, like, run off. Like, oh my gosh, this creeping feeling. This means the kidnappers are close. I must go save her from having a good time with some friends by herself. After he gets home, there is a section break. We go to Alesia at the bar with her friends. And Tabitha says this. I think my father will find my manners vastly improved. He'll be pleased, I hope, Tabitha purrs. He wants me to be married off as soon as possible, like my sisters. You wouldn't think we're in the 21st century. No, you wouldn't! They talk about how, like, somebody's gonna host a banquet. I don't give a fuck, because this part doesn't have anything, like, that advances the story. We just know that Alesia is at this bar with her friends, and we see that she's talking to her friends and mentions that she's going to move, and that she's going to hold a housewarming party or something. And this Tabitha girl is like, says, when and where are you moving? Tell me all. Right? And remember what I told you about the formatting of this ebook, that it's very difficult to tell sections apart? This is how it reads on my Kindle. Oh, when and where are you moving? Tell me all. I'm about to head into the shower when the external buzzer sounds. Now, this is not an E.L. James thing. Well, it is E.L. James's fault to the point that she has these completely unnecessary cuts between one POV and another, because then something actually happens next, right? That happens in Maxim's POV, that it should have been unbroken. We did not need to cut to Alesia hearing that her friend's father wants to marry her off. Like, that's not... Plus, I'm like, you know, why in that scene isn't Alesia like, oh yeah, tell me about it? Because that's like, you know, the culture that she allegedly comes from, according to E.L. James's Albania. So, and just, I don't understand the cuts back and forth. But the Kindle formatting is very bad. I think that if she chooses to write a book this chaotic again, they need to start each section off with drop caps or something. Anyway, so the doorbell rings, and he thinks it better not be a reporter. he pushes the intercom button, and there's okay. The person who answers says, "Hello, Alesia, please." And then he asks who it is. And then this sentence, we're just going to talk about it. "Friend, Alesia, friend, please." A quiet desperation in her tone raises the hairs on my neck. English is not her first language. It raises their... I know that it's because she's a human trafficking victim, but this guy has been so xenophobic for this whole thing that I feel like I can humorously assume that he just hears someone speaking English with a foreign accent, and he's just like, the hair prickles on the back of his neck, because the rest of this book has been so xenophobic. It's like, it's not that big of a stretch to assume that, so I'm gonna go ahead and assume it, because I'm a bitch. Oh, and so he buzzes her in, and then his last thought before the section break, because of course we got another section break, is, "We'll see who this is." I don't know! Could it be Blariana, the girl that you guys have been looking for? Like some random, like, woman shows up and knows your wife, right? Alesia, that's her name? Knows her, and you're just like, we'll see who this is. That's a new undocumented cleaning lady that you're hiring. So we go back to the bar, and Tabitha and Alesia are hugging and talking about how they're gonna stay in touch, and it's wonderful that she made a friend, and they're just kind of like joking about stuff. Like, they're just kind of like joking about knowing what fork to use and like how to stand correctly and stuff like that. It's just nonsense. It's just needless. It's breaking up what should be an important scene where Blariana is obviously Blariana. I feel like this was thrown in to like build tension, but every reader is going to know that that is Blariana there, and if it isn't, it's an incredibly weird choice by the writer. If it turns out to be some other random trafficked person and not Blariana, I don't know what I'm gonna do. I don't know, but it's gonna be drastic. I might go to a flea market and buy a bunch of secondhand ceramic crap and smash it in the middle of the road. I don't know, because I don't know how I could handle it if this was not Blariana, right? So I'm gonna operate on the assumption that it's gonna be Blariana, or else I'm going to freak out. That's all that's gonna happen. Blood's gonna come out of my eyes, and probably my ears and my butthole, if that is what happens. But let's assume that this is going to be Blariana, right? And then, if that is the case, why are we building suspense? Because it's so obvious, right? It's so obvious. Oh my god, it's not going to be fucking Blariana. And I'm going to have to buy like a bus pass to somewhere. The only reason that we go into Alessia's POV is so that she can tell this Tabitha that they're not going to lose touch, and oh, isn't it funny that we learned how to use the correct forks, and then she gets in the car and she leaves. That's it. That's the only reason that we break up this scene, okay? Because in the next... Are you fucking kidding me? Oh my god, there are drop caps. How have I not been seeing these? And the new... Oh my goodness! The formatting is just fine! I've been seeing the formatting wrong! How is that even possible? I have eyes and I'm looking at this. Oh my gosh! My brain has been overloaded by this every time I've been reading it, and I've been... Oh my god, I can't believe I had to get this high to see the formatting in this book correctly. Oh my gosh, I need to quit my job. There's got to be something out there I can do. I can work for, like, some city permit office. It'll be like Parks and Rec. It'll be great. And, obviously, like I said, it's going to be Blariana. It's a young woman. around Alessia's age, and she has this, he describes it as a reticence with men. Which honestly, I gotta say, is kind of funny. Like, I didn't really see that in the first book because she became immediately and instantly horny for him. And then at the very first opportunity that she ever got to jump on it, she did. So, I didn't see the reticence. And I'm not saying that she should be reticent or that there's something wrong with that. I just think it's weird that Maxim interpreted her very enthusiastic sexual response to him as reticence. It was Bluriana, thank God. My luck lately has not been great, and so I was thinking that it's Bluriana. Everybody, chill out. Chill out, it's Bluriana. He texts Alesia and says, I have a surprise for you, come home. Okay, well, no, you don't have a surprise for her. This is not a cute thing. This is not an old friend just dropped by. This is someone who has been trafficked. This is a trafficking victim. She's actively in this country illegally because she was trafficked, right? This is not, like, I can't even get past this. I legitimately can't get past this. This idea of I have a surprise for you. Like, he planned it. Like, he's responsible for it. Like, I absolutely cannot. I've hit my breaking point, I think, with Maxim. I think I have a surprise for you about a human trafficking victim who is trying to find another human trafficking victim. I don't even know what to say. It's like it's so shocking to me that it was written that way. And that nobody flagged it, and nobody said, hey, this does not make your hero sound great. You know, and this doesn't make you sound great, that this wouldn't even occur to you, that you wouldn't say, I have a surprise for you, because the human trafficked person who has shown up at your door knows your wife, who is also human trafficked. I just can't. Oh my gosh. Back to the store brand Kool-Aid. I wish I had antifreeze in it. Well, here's something creepy. Her voice is hesitant and soft, and her arms are crossed in front of her. I suspect to try to make her already slight frame look smaller. She's trying to be invisible. Oh, sweetheart, I see you. I know that's supposed to be like a kind thing, like I see you and like I see your pain. But because of the character it just feels like, you know, oh, I'm right and you're wrong. You think you're going to make yourself invisible and you're traumatized? I see you. Oh, I hate this man. And I know that's not what I'm supposed to be. But the thing is, if you want me to feel a certain way about the words that you are writing about your character, then that character can't be a total ass bomb. And just so, like, we are fully aware that E.L. James has researched things about Albania. Are you hungry? With my hands I motion eating. She frowns, then nods, then shakes her head. Of course, she's Albanian. Because remember, they nod and shake their head for different things. So just so you know, E.L. James totally researched that, and then she wanted to let you know in a way that her very xenophobic main character goes, of course, she's Albanian. Man, I'm sorry, I am so washed out. This looks like spooky ghost hour on my channel, and I apologize, except for it's not really an hour. They're usually like, what, like 40 minutes, something like that. But, you know, pretend it's network television, so it's spooky ghost hour because I'm so washed out. So obviously he has to talk to her like she's a caveman. I check my watch. Alesia, here soon. Alesia gets home. We have to see her pay the cabbie and then go upstairs and hear about how the neighbor probably just got finished walking her dog, and that's why it's taking so long for the elevator to show up. And she checks her thing and she sees the thing from it. It's just like, are you just fucking kidding? Are you fucking kidding? Just please. Somebody say psych. So, Alesia and Bluriana see each other and they hug. And Alesia asks, "You're here. How are you here? Are you okay? Did you escape?" No, she didn't escape. How the fuck? She asked the kidnappers to drive her over. And then, of course, Maxim thinks, because we have to go out of Alessia's POV. As soon as she sees her and she hugs and she's like, are you safe and all that stuff, and they're having this emotional reunion, we have to go to Maxim's POV so he could say, hell, weeping women chattering fast and furious in Albanian. Their emotional reunion chokes me for a moment. No, that was me. That was me. Just reaching out and using the Force. And it's never worked for me before. I've tried to use the Force a lot of times, and it has never ever worked for me before, but this time it did. This time it's me, and I am wringing his neck for thinking, hell, weeping women, because his wife, who was human trafficked, and another human trafficking survivor are crying together. Oh, Lord. What pisses me off is when she wrote this, the author believed that this was charming. Blariana was the one that was following him. Alesia reaches out and takes my hand. Thank you, she mouths. As much as I'd like to take the credit, this is not me. She found us. You already take the credit. You already did that once. Like, no take backsies. Once again, Alesia asks Blariana if she escaped. Oh, if she escaped the night that she ran away from the traffickers. Got it. Not did she just escape. Not like, has she escaped? And that's... Got it. Blariana says that they caught her. Okay, there is something here that I genuinely like. And believe me, I hate myself for it. But I do genuinely like this. Blariana is crying because she's safe now. And Alesia says, you're safe now, I've got you. Which is what Maxim always says to her. She's saying it to this. I like that parallel. And I like 100% that it doesn't say, Alesia says the words that Maxim blah blah blah. It doesn't immediately shift the focus to the fact that Maxim says those words to her and how it makes her feel safe and blah blah blah. So, and like she does on the page before, you know, it says that she's rocking her the way that Maxim had rocked, you know, her, but it doesn't reiterate the fact that it's the you know, the you're safe, I've got you thing, right? I do genuinely think that was good. That was a good moment of character development that we can see, that Alesia has internalized the things that make her feel safe and the things that are safety to her, and it's those words. I do genuinely like that. And then it all gets blown to shit because Maxim, who is left to give them privacy, is actually watching from the doorway. But then he decides that it's too painful to watch it because it makes him think of like all the horrible things, like all the horrible things that could happen. So Blariana was rescued by police. She is staying with an English family now that's part of some kind of charity thing. Then she saw Alesia in the papers, and that's how she found her. Then we go into Maxim's POV. My only hope is that she doesn't trigger Alessia's trauma. Her nightmares. That's with an M dash, because we gotta have an M dash. I didn't want her back in that awful world, yet here we are. Hell, I'm standing in the shadows as a bystander, feeling utterly useless. What can I do? You can make it all about you. You can make the whole thing all about you. And it dawns on me that this used to be my norm. This was how I felt all the time. Useless. It's only since I met Alesia that I felt worthy and purposeful. Fuck. I shake off the notion, as it's a little disturbing. What happens when your wife isn't your project anymore? What happens when you've Pygmalioned the shit out of this, and she is every inch a countess, and all the work is done, and you don't have a purpose anymore? What happens then? Are we going to read about that in the next book? Is it going to be called The Divorcee? Because this big emotional reunion is happening between Blariana and Alesia, we go with Maxim to call ahead to Cornwall and say that they're not coming in that night, and then to call Tom and say like, hey, you know that person that you've been looking for? Hey, she's actually here. And then he goes to the drawing room and suggests, like, should they eat? He says, talk to your friend, I'll order something. And then she's like, oh no, I'll cook. Because of course she'll cook. Because Maxim just said he was hungry, so she'll cook. Alesia makes quick work of preparing some lamb chops with olive oil, garlic, and rosemary for grilling. Then she starts making a salad with feta cheese, onions, tomatoes, and various types of lettuce from a bag. Bluriana helps chop the onions and tomatoes with Alesia. Maxim opens a bottle of red wine for them all to share. Cool. Thanks for the menu. Also, I like how she, like, really quickly, like, grills lamb chops. That... Because when I think of quick meals, I think of, like, dressing and grilling lamb chops. Alesia asks if it's okay for her friend to stay the night. Maxim's like, does she need to call someone and let them know where she is? So, after Bluriana goes to make her phone call, Maxim starts getting all horny up on Alesia and, like, licking her ear and shit. Because that's what you're gonna do when you have this traumatized survivor of, it sounds like, sex trafficking in your house. What you should immediately do is just start, like, groping on each other while she's just in the other room on the phone. I mean, how would you even be in the mood? How would, because, like, I just don't, like, how would you be like, oh, cool, our house guest is someone who, you know, it's vaguely alluded to that she was trafficked for sex. And how would you even... People deal with things in different ways, I guess. Okay, so Alesia... Maxim suggests that they can take Bluriana home the next day. They can drive her home the next day on the way to Cornwall. Alesia is like thinking, I'm going to ask if she can go to Cornwall with us. Is this going to happen? I don't know. If it does, there's going to be just a ton of bitching on Maxim's part about how he's not getting to, like, stick it to his wife the way he wanted to. So she gets in bed and he's wearing pajamas, which is apparently the no nookie symbol, because she's like, you know, you're wearing pajamas, and he's like, oh, we have a guest. So now he's like reached that conclusion that I have reached, right? That maybe we don't just bang like orangutans when we've got like a fucking sex trafficking victim right across the hall. But the way that she figures it out is she like reaches down for like his dick and then finds the PJs, and he says that she says that, you know, like he says that he doesn't want to have sex. Oh my god, that's gonna be fun to caption. I'm telling you, sometimes I'll say things and I'll be stammering and I'll be like, oh, good. Well, when I have to go caption that, that's going to be a lot of fun. Okay, so anyway, what happens is that she is trying to, like, reach for his dick, finds out he's wearing pants, and he says he doesn't want to do anything, and because of they've got, you know, this person staying there, and then she removes her hand, much to my disappointment, and trails it over my body up to my chin, where she cups my face. Leaning over me, she whispers, thank you, and she offers me a quick, sweet kiss. Now, here's the thing. He just said, he's like, I don't want, like, to disrupt this guest that we have, right? And then he's like, you know, oh no, she didn't touch my dick. So, after she does that, after she says thank you and gives him a kiss, and this is after he's, like, acknowledged, I cannot state enough, this is after he has acknowledged that there is a sex trafficking victim in the guest room. He says, oh no, I want so much more than that. Pulling her into my arms, I turn us both, so she's lying beneath me, her dark hair splayed out over the pillow, her dark eyes gazing up at me, her body cradling mine. I pause, drinking her in. But something's off. Yeah, it could be that she just sat there and in an off-screen scene where it's heavily implied that she is telling her friend about the horrible stuff that happened to her after she was human trafficked for sex. Thank you, she says once more, but this time it's with a breathy, quiet plea that's sobering. She cups my face with her hands, and tears pool in her eyes. My breath catches in my throat. Oh God, No, those are in italics. Her soft entreaty almost undoes me and kills my desire. I gather her in my arms and roll back, holding her hard and fast on top of me. It could have been her. That's where she's gone. It could have been her, but she got away. My girl, my wife, my sweet, sweet wife. Then she starts crying. And then he says, I've got you, let it all out, you're here, you're safe. Why not mirror that thing that you just said before? Why not take that where it was just, you're safe, I've got you? Why not repeat that here? And then he says his own tears stay lodged like a cinder block in my throat. And that's the chapter hook. So my hope is that when we come to chapter 27, there will in fact be a cinder block in his throat and he's choking. There was way too much like choking in this book, like the reference to the choking in this chapter. There was way too many references to choking in this chapter for him not to have actually asphyxiated. I feel ripped off. But at least Bluriana was, you know, found safe, and I didn't have to start defecating on people's cars in a Denny's parking lot. Because if it hadn't been Bluriana at the door, I don't know. I don't know what would have happened to me. So, check out the description box. Like, comment, and subscribe. And I had to edit out a big part of me just staring into space. Anyway, so yeah, like, comment, subscribe, check out the description box to see where else I am at. Throw a little change in the Ko-Fi if you wanna. And, or check out Patreon. We're reading Model Land. And, other than that, I guess, I was gonna say hang loose, but that's not what I say. I say catch you on the flip side. So I'll catch you on the flip side.